Hello and welcome to Beautiful Literature with me, Teacher Martha. I am so glad that you could join us today. And just to let us know that we are looking at the Fathers of Nations, and we are in chapter 2. We've already done chapter 1. And if you haven't had a look at it, kindly look it up in our other videos, and you'll be able to have an explanation of chapter 1. And so therefore today we'll look at chapter 2. And chapter 2 is pretty short, and therefore we will not take a lot of time there. Actually, in chapter 2, we only have a very small discussion, and the discussion actually introduces us to the task that is ahead of these 4 men. And they actually are being taken step by step. It's at 9 p.m. and there's a mobile phone that rings at the Seamount West Wing, where Pastor Chiamaka has been allocated. And the conversation between Pastor Chiamaka and the guide, and we know the guide is Dr. Falabi, and we realize so much that is going on, and how sensitive this mission is, and how important these are the document is. And if you see how the conversation is trained, how Pastor Chiamaka is feeling so uncomfortable with this obscure, this mysterious person who is calling, and he cannot tell him who he is, he cannot tell him what his name is, he cannot tell him anything, he cannot meet him. And this person seems to be everywhere. He's able to see him, but he can't see him. He's even maybe bumped on him in the hotel or somewhere along the road, and he feels very uncomfortable about that. And Dr. Falabi does not even take it very kindly when Pastor Chiamaka is keeping on following up and saying and wanting to know. He actually gets upset along the way and actually tells him, why he actually shouted. And Pastor Chiamaka is not amused at all also, and that messes up that relationship. But at some point, Pastor Chiamaka had to tone down and take a subordinate position and accept that really there's nothing I can do. And Dr. Falabi is very happy about that. I think his ego feels very pampered by the fact that now people are submitting to him. And also you realize that same call he made to Pastor Chiamaka, he also made to the others. So I don't know whether the discussion went on the same. I want to imagine with Saif Tahir how the discussion went. The one who walks around looking like he's been powered by rebellion and protest and being disobedient. I'm wondering whether he took that position of Pastor Chiamaka, or he stood up and fought for himself. Maybe Professor Kimani didn't fight very much, but I'm highly doubting. I wish I would know how the discussion with Saif went on. But if you look at that conversation, the same conversation went on with the others, and therefore we are talking about the copy. What exactly was in the briefcase that everybody had been given? And of course, it has a code 1124, where they were supposed to use it and to open, and that briefcase that has all the things that they needed to have. And so there's a letter from AGDA, and they were supposed to have there's a copy of Way Omega. There's also a copy of Path Alpha, where AGDA, you remember, it is the development for Africa and so on. And so you realize that these documents are in one box and that one place. And he's supposed to have looked at them. He's actually given time. He told to have a look at them and read through them, because by the end of the day, that is what it brought them there. And on top of that, there's also a phone that he's supposed to be having it at all times, day and night, rain or shine. He should not leave that phone without it. And from now, he's the one who will be, Dr. Falabi is the one who will be calling them, and often, unexpectedly, from nowhere and through that line. And he says that is the line that is very secure, unlike the phone line that is in the hotel. And actually later on we realized through Mackenzie and his colleague that actually the mobile phones are more insecure as compared to the landlines that are in the hotels. And actually, as we talk about irony, it's very ironical that he feels very secure about a mobile phone and thinking that is good for him and to keep his secrets, and actually that is actually the one that is more vulnerable. And so therefore you realize the conversation between the two of them, and therefore this sets the pace of what is going to happen going forward. And so he says, he takes him back, like if you look at on page 19, where he says, fine, let's go back to Way Omega and Path Alpha. Then I said, AGDA wants you to be fully familiar with both documents. Are you, Pastor Chiamaka? And then he says, yes, yes, sir. In fact, now finally he's even calling him sir. And so ideally he's supposed to have been looking at those two documents So that when it comes for him to show up, when it comes for him to represent and to implement why he's been trained all this time, why he was brought on board, then it means that he'll be able to perform very well. And therefore, finally, we see that the discussions go on and they're almost concluding on that. And Dr. Falabi on page 18, when Pastor Chiamaka insists on getting to know him, he says, I won't let you know who I am and my real name because our mission is still at a delicate stage, said the caller. For that reason, I would rather you did not know who I am yet. Until I tell you otherwise, just call me your guide. Needless to say, I won't let you see my face either, but you will hear my voice. Is there anything else you would like to ask me? Of course, that is a very uncomfortable situation for anyone to be in. You're dealing with someone you cannot even tell who it is and so on. And Pastor Chiamaka on page 20, we are told that he felt a lump of anger rise in his throat. Only after that, he remembered the injunction to turn the other cheek when he swallow his anger and apologize. All right, I have no business being in the bar, because the Dr. Falabi had asked him why he was in the pub, and actually he was just taking a soda. He was not even drinking anything, and therefore he was not drinking an alcoholic drink. But the guide has decided to be a moral cop and is one who is actually challenging him because of going to the pub. And what was your business being in the pub, in a bar, Pastor Chiamaka? Now he's even supposed to explain why he's in the pub. And therefore you realize that Dr. Falabi, maybe, I think he was overstretching. He was trying to get a bit personal. But again, after all, there's nothing he can do about it. After all, they are here because of him. They are here because of Mr. Longway. And they have to just submit and follow the plan as it is. So that is chapter 2. Like I said, a very short one. And helps us to understand the secrecy, or let me call it how sensitive this whole mission is of Path Alpha, and how they are, Dr. Falabi is taking it very seriously, and actually he must take all precaution. Actually, you realize that, and I keep to think that maybe that's why in chapter 1, Dr. Falabi was a bit upset when Mackenzie kept insisting about him and about his book and about his being pessimistic and optimistic and all that, because he was feeling like maybe his cover is being blown, and he didn't want that. He wanted to stay anonymous. He wanted his cover to be intact so that nobody knows that he's actually, playing double standards and he's up to something. And so therefore we see that Dr. Falabi is quite something, and he can actually mess everybody around. He's handling 4 men at a go, and he also has a big agenda ahead of him. We'll be able to see whether he's been able to really implement that agenda. So that is it for chapter 2. I hope that you understand it. If you don't understand, WhatsApp group is there. Kindly join through the link. And even in the comment section, I will be looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one in chapter 3.